you ever see a stock price and just get that feeling like, am I about to get ripped off here? It's a question every single investor asks. Well, today we're going to tackle that exact problem, and we're going to do it with a really simple but super powerful tool.
All right, so to get our heads around this, let's start with a really basic idea. The difference between what something costs and what it's actually worth.
Okay, picture this. You've got two ships in front of you. One is brand spanking new. It's fully stocked, sailing perfectly, just a beautiful piece of machinery. And then you've got the other one. It's old, kind of rickety, barely staying afloat, and a bunch of important gear is just gone.
So here's the million-dollar question. If both of these ships had the exact same price tag, which one are you buying? I mean, it's a no-brainer, right? You take the new one every single time. But here's the crazy part. In the world of investing, you'd be surprised how often people choose to buy the old, rickety ship. For real.
And that's the puzzle we're trying to solve. This is precisely where something called the price-to-book ratio comes into play. Think of it like a special set of glasses that lets you see past the price tag and figure out what you're really getting.
All right, so let's get this thing into your investing toolkit. We're going to break down what it is, how it works, and how you can use it.
So the price-to-book ratio, you'll often see it as just the P/B ratio, is pretty simple at its core. It just compares what the market thinks a company is worth, that's its stock price, to what the company's net worth is on paper, its book value. A good way to think about book value is, if the company sold everything it owned and paid off all its debts today, what would be left over? That's it. Okay, the formula looks simple enough, right? It's just the market price per share divided by the book value per share. Easy. But that second part, book value per share, how do we actually get that number? Let's walk through it step by step.
Okay, let's do a quick example. First up, we need the company's total book value. Let's say a company has $100 million in assets, stuff it owns, and $40 million in debt. You just subtract the debt from the assets. Boom, its book value is $60 million. Okay, step 2, we need that per share number. So if our company has 10 million shares out there, we take that $60 million book value and divide it by the 10 million shares. That gives us a book value of $6 per share. See? Simple. Now for the final step. Let's say the stock is currently trading on the market for $12 a share. We just take that price, 12, and divide it by our book value per share, which was 6.
And what do you get? A nice round 2. So our PB ratio is 2. But what on earth does that number actually tell us? Well, it means that for every $1 of that company's actual on-paper net worth, investors are willing to pay $2. They're paying a premium.
Okay, so we have our number. But here's where it gets really interesting. A PB of 2 could be crazy high for one company and an absolute bargain for another. It's all about context.
So here's a rough guide to help you read these things. If you see a P/B ratio below 1, that means the stock is actually trading for less than its paper value. Now that could be a huge buy signal, maybe it's undervalued, or it could be a red flag. We'll get to that. A ratio of exactly 1 means the price and the book value are perfectly matched. You could say it's fairly valued. And anything above 1, well, that means investors are paying more than the company is technically worth on paper, usually because they're betting on big future growth.
Okay, theory is great, but let's look at some real-world examples. Check this out. We've got a tech company with a P/B of 10.5, then a solid bank at 1.2, and then this old-school furniture company all the way down at 0.7. How can they be so wildly different?
This is a perfect illustration of why context is everything. That tech giant, a PB of 10.5 seems insane, right? But its value isn't in physical stuff like factories. No way. It's in the code, the brand, the patents, all the brilliant ideas that are hard to put a number on. Investors are basically screaming, "We believe this company is going to the moon."
And then you flip over to the other side of the coin. Classic furniture with its PB of 0.7. It's literally trading for less than it's worth on paper. Now this company has tons of physical assets, warehouses, inventory, you name it. But the market is looking at all that stuff and saying, yeah, we're not so sure about that. Maybe they think that furniture is outdated or won't sell, so they're not even willing to pay its paper value. And this leads us to a really, really important point. A super low PB ratio can look like a giant flashing neon sign that says, "Buy me." But you gotta be careful, because sometimes what looks like a bargain is actually a trap. So you might be thinking, okay, I get it. Find a company with a PB under 1 and I've found a hidden gem. Simple, right? Well, not so fast. Let me take you back to a specific time and place. Wall Street, 2008.
Back in early 2008, bank stocks were getting hammered. I mean, they were crashing hard. And as their prices fell, their PB ratios dropped way below 1. They looked like the deal of the century. So tons of people piled in, thinking they were geniuses. But there was a massive problem lurking under the surface. It turns out the book value for these banks was a fantasy. They were holding all these toxic, risky investments that were basically worthless. And by the end of the year, the whole house of cards came down. So-called bargain banks like Lehman Brothers, they just vanished. Others had to be bailed out by the government to even exist.
So what's the big takeaway here? It's absolutely crucial. A low PB ratio is not a guarantee of a bargain. Sometimes it's a giant warning sign screaming that the value on the books isn't real.
So where does that leave us? Here's the final verdict. The PB ratio is an awesome tool to have, for sure. But it's just that, a tool. It is not, and I repeat, not a treasure map to easy money.
And like we saw with our tech company example, the P/B ratio starts to lose its power when you're looking at companies built on ideas, not things. For businesses whose value is tied up in their brand, their software, their patents, the book value just doesn't tell the whole story.
I mean, think about Coca-Cola. Its PB ratio is usually way up there, over 10. Now, who in their right mind would pay 10 times what the company's assets are worth? You do, and I do, because we know its real value isn't just in the factories and the trucks. Its real value is that red and white logo. It's the brand, one of the most recognized in human history. And you just can't put a price on that in a simple accounting book.
So at the end of the day, here's how you should think about it. The PB ratio is your starting line, not the finish line. It's a fantastic tool to help you start asking the right questions, but it's never going to give you the final answer all by itself.
Which leaves us with one final thought. The price-to-book ratio is great at measuring what a company has right now, what it owns. But the true magic, the real challenge of investing, is trying to measure what that company is going to become.